And we are about to start. Stay with me, guys, as we expand our knowledge with videos from all over the internet that's going to make us question reality. Let's just start.
Who wrote in 1925 a book called The Mystery of Freemasonry Unveiled. And in this book, in 1925, it is said that he wrote a letter to a man named Mazzini. He predicted 3 world wars. The First World War, he said, must be brought about, and I'm quoting from Albert Pike. The First World War must be brought about in order to permit the Illuminati to overthrow the power of the czars in Russia and of making that country a fortress of atheistic communism. The divergences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the British and German empires will be used to foment this war. At the end of the war, communism will be built and used in order to destroy the other governments and in order to weaken the religions. Now, students of history will know that Otto von Bismarck forged certain alliances between 1871 and 1898, which brought about this war, this World War I. And Otto von Bismarck here says that he was a co-conspirator with Albert Pike, and he was the one instrumental in bringing about the First World War. Well, that's the First World War. Then he dreams that there must be, he is given in this visionary dream, a Second World War. Now remember, this was in 1925 that it became public in this book written. He says, quote, "The Second World War must be fomented by taking advantage of the differences between the fascists and the political Zionists. This war must be brought about so that Nazism is destroyed and that the political Zionism will be strong enough to institute a sovereign state of Israel in Palestine. During the Second World War, international communism must become strong enough in order to balance Christendom, which would then be restrained and held in check until the time when we would need it for the final social cataclysm."
So all
Well,
these
there are
wars
some
are
who
just
may
for
argue
power.
that the terms Nazism and Zionism were not known in 1871. You should remember, however, that the Illuminati invented both of these movements. In addition, communism as an ideology and as a coined phrase originates in France during the Revolution. In 1785, Restif coined the phrase 4 years before the Revolution broke out. Restif and Bebu, in turn, were influenced by Rosé, as was the most famous conspirator of them all, Adam Weishaupt. Only 1 world war and 2 world wars, but here comes the third
That's the
world
most
war.
important,
He
right?
says, and I quote,
Because it's in our time.
"The Third World
It
War
hasn't
must be
happened yet.
fomented by taking advantage of the differences caused by the agents of the Illuminati between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world." Yeah, that's what he says. The war, this was 1925. Please understand that. So he says, after World War I was just over a few years, and before World War II even started, he's now thinking about this Third World War, and it says that it will be caused by the differences between the political Zionists and the leaders of the Islamic world. The war must be conducted in such a way that Islam, the Muslim Arabic world, and political Zionism, the State of Israel, mutually destroy each other. That's what it says.
Really?
Meanwhile, the other nations,
So
once
that's what's
more
going
divided
on.
on this issue, will be constrained to fight to the point of complete physical, moral, spiritual, and economic exhaustion. They're supposed to fight each other to the death, you see.
This is
I've been telling
crazy.
people this a witch, them Kardashians a witches coven.
Obviously.
I mean, I don't understand how people don't want to see that. Or just looking at Chris, you know? I don't know why people have such a hard time accepting that the occult is real.
Most of the world still thinks that sex tape was leaked. You know what I mean? There's such a shroud of BS around that family. You know what I mean? When you start allegedly, right? Mom knew about that tape and picked out what the best camera angle was. They sat in the kitchen, looked at that thing together before they hit out.
How about we quote Ray J. Rayford Norwood? He said Chris directed it.
Y'all sued Steve Hirsch, that's a lie. $5 million, you never got $5 million. You can't print those documents up, they don't exist. You never got no money from Steve, you got $400,000, just like I got $400,000. We signed the contract the same day. You got the same contract I got, except guess what? You rushed me to sign the contract because your mama was rushing me to sign it, so guess what you did? You signed my deliverables in your handwriting, right? Because you was rushing me. So you signed my deliverables. Kim Kardashian got her handwriting and her fingerprints all over my contract. When you look at the two, when you look at my signature and you look at her signature on my deliverables, it say tape number 1.
Oh, you were just used
tape number
man.
2, and guess what? The third tape or the second they've been trying to play me on, that called Santa Barbara. Her mama made us go shoot it for safety. She watched the motherfucker and said, hey, we're gonna go with the first one because the first one is better. It gives my daughter a better look than the second one that I made y'all go do. But you watched it and made a decision.
And did he help write the contract?
Huh?
And did he help write the contract?
Yeah.
Did he?
He said Chris directed. What mother would watch her daughter get plowed down
This is
by
crazy.
community eggplant
Community eggplant.
and sell it?
This is crazy. Sell it.
You know, when they brought that show back, I didn't understand why. I said it was gone once. Why not just let it die? But when she came back, and then something from the tape reemerged, and it just was so violent. And I don't know, Mommy, why are they bringing this up again?
The sex tape back.
Oh my god.
And he flew home and got. Oh, it was on the hard drive.
So it's like, yeah, I was just
And I was
acting.
afraid
This is
at the airport
crazy.
and got
It's
caught
like
back.
acting.
Oh, Kim.
Oh my
I remember
God.
this time
That's amazing.
when Kanye brought all the sex tapes.
That
It's
was a
crazy.
very trying time in my life, and why you sitting there crying to the person that filmed it and directed it?
Yes, right.
What was you crying for? I don't know, go make some new skims, I guess. Get over it.
Just for the camera.
Man, please tell me why money got you so fucked up right now that literally you're forgetting that you have something special. That your ass literally wanted more than money when you were younger. You wanted to be part of something beautiful where you were a good person that could literally show up, be great, be there for your people, be there working on your fucking craft. Don't be so poor that all you have is fucking money, man. If you focus on being the best you can be, and learning, and being patient with yourself, you'll be surprised how you will not only just get money, but everything
True that.
under the sun
Real fact.
can be yours.
South Sudan did not defeat North Sudan or Sudan in a tribal battle. It was a U.S. project. I
Obviously.
would go often to Nairobi and meet
Kenya.
U.S. military or senators or others with deep interests in Sudan's politics. This was part of the game of unipolarity. So the NATO enlargement, as you know, started in 1999 with Hungary, Poland, and the Czech Republic. And Russia was extremely unhappy about it. But these were countries still far from the border. And Russia protested, but of course to no avail. Then George Bush Jr. came in. When 9/11 occurred, President Putin pledged all support. And then the U.S. Decided in September 20th,
That's like 11
2001.
days, right?
that it would launch 7 wars in 5 years. And you can listen to General Wesley Clark online talk about that. He was NATO's
7
Supreme
wars in
Commander in
5 years.
1999. He went to the Pentagon on September 20th, 2001. He was handed the paper explaining 7 wars. These, by the way, were Netanyahu's wars. The idea was partly to clean up old Soviet allies and partly to take out supporters of Hamas and Hezbollah. Because Netanyahu's idea was
There will be one state, thank you, only one state. It will be Israel. Israel will control all of the territory. And anyone that objects, we will overthrow. Not we exactly, our friend, the United States. That's U.S. policy until this morning. We don't know whether it will change. Now,
let me pause it for a while. But then I feel like U.S. is Israel's puppet. I don't know. And Israel is the ventriloquist. They are the puppet masters of the United States, because it's like they do everything in favor of, like, US everything in favor of, you know, the Israelites. And I mean, it's obvious that there's some, you know, power dynamics in their relationship. So yeah, that's just something little that I just wanted to share. Let's continue.
the only wrinkle is that maybe the U.S. will own Gaza instead of Israel owning Gaza. But the idea has been around at least for 25 years. It actually goes back to a document called Clean Break that Netanyahu and his American political team put together in 1996 to end the idea of the two-state solution. You can also find it online. So these are projects, these are long-term events. These aren't, is it Clinton, is it Bush, is it Obama? That's the boring way to look at American politics, as the day-to-day game, but that's not what American politics is. So the next round of NATO enlargement came in 2004 with 7 more countries. The 3 Baltic states, Romania, Bulgaria, Slovenia, and Slovakia. At this point, Russia was pretty damn upset. This was a complete violation of the post-war order agreed with German reunification. Essentially, it was a fundamental trick or defection of the U.S. from a cooperative arrangement, is what it amounted to, because they believe in unipolarity.
So I love what you've done with this place. These roads were all dirt back when I was here. Now you've got this, whatever this is, it's much, much, much better. And there's a lot more buildings. It is a credit to America. Well done.
What if 3, 6, and 9 weren't just numbers, but the exact formula to bending reality itself?
Okay.
And here's the disturbing part. Modern science is starting to prove he was right. Tesla wasn't obsessed with numbers for no reason. He believed the entire universe operated on energy, frequency, and vibration, and 3, 6, and 9 were at the center of it all. And Tesla was convinced that whoever cracked their true meaning could control the physical world. But the deeper you go, the more unsettling it gets. There's a reason the most powerful people in history were obsessed with numbers, symbols, and sacred geometry. Pythagoras, Da Vinci, Newton, Einstein. They all studied the hidden mathematics of the universe. And every one of them left behind coded messages, hints that point to a secret knowledge only they were meant to understand. But now, here's the most chilling part. Tesla's research on this was never found.
We are at the end of an age. The age of deception is collapsing, and the age of truth is beginning. This is why everything feels different. Time itself is unraveling, reality is shifting, and more people are waking up to the greatest lie ever told. Death is not an escape, it is a trap. And if you fall into it without knowledge, without awareness, you are sent back into the cycle, again and again, lifetime after lifetime. But this time, something is different. This time, your ancestors are watching, they are waiting. Because if you wake up before you die, you don't just free yourself, you free them too. Every ancient civilization knew that something unnatural happened to souls after death. They left warnings, instructions, rituals, but those teachings have been erased, distorted, or labeled as myth. Tibetan Buddhist texts describe the bardo, where trickster beings appear, luring souls back into reincarnation. The Egyptian Book of the Dead warns of a false afterlife where souls are judged and sent back, repeating the cycle. The Gnostic texts describe archons, entities that control the material realm and feed off human souls, keeping them bound in illusion. Even the Bible warns us that Satan masquerades as an angel of light, 2 Corinthians 11:14. Many near-death experiencers describe being pulled into a bright, warm light where they are met by guides or loved ones. They are given a choice, but always the path leads back to earthly reincarnation. But what if that light is not salvation, but a recycling mechanism? What if your ancestors have been trapped in this system for generations, waiting for someone, you, to break the cycle? The rulers of this world know the truth. The elites who control this world, those in power, those in secret societies, those who manipulate economies, governments and media, they know this truth. This is why they keep you asleep. They flood your life with distractions, entertainment, social media, endless conflict to ensure you never stop to question reality. They manipulate religions and history, ensuring that true spiritual knowledge is buried or demonized. They fund scientific projects like CERN, searching for ways to control time, portals, and the very fabric of existence. They know that if enough people wake up, the prison shatters. Your DNA is a key. Your DNA is more than just genetic coding. It is a record of your lineage, carrying the memories, knowledge, and spiritual essence of those who came before you. Your ancestors were tricked, just like you have been. But here's the truth they don't want you to know. They manipulated human DNA to sever our connection to the divine, trapping us in a lower frequency where we forget who we are upon birth. The veil is lifting. We are in the final war, not just of nations, but of souls. The age of deception has ruled for thousands of years, keeping humanity in submission, ignorance, and forgetfulness. But now the age of truth is emerging. Every prophecy, revelation, the Vedic texts, Hopi legends, speaks of a great awakening before the end of the cycle. This is why the world is unraveling, why governments are scrambling, why CERN is playing with time, why AI is being forced upon us. They know we are waking up, and they are desperate to keep us asleep. If you want to escape the trap, if you want to break your ancestors free, you must prepare now before death comes. Know the trap. If you die in ignorance, you'll follow the light without questioning it. Don't stop, question, look around, demand to go beyond. Call upon the divine source. Not the false gods, not the deceptions of this realm, but the true creator beyond time and space. Reject the illusion, refuse any contract, any agreement, any being that tries to lure you back into the cycle. Your will is your weapon. Remember who you are. You are more than a body, more than a name. You are eternal, and the prison only works if you believe in it. Your ancestors are counting on you. You are the last in the line. The cycle ends with you, or it continues for generations. The ultimate question is this: will you wake up before you die, or will you, like so many before you, be led back into the loop? The choice is yours, but time is running out.
Demons and devils are thoughts. That's why Jesus Christ said, take no thought. It's that simple. So where do I come off at in reincarnation? Christianity, how can I even talk about it? I've got to have some kind of authority. Let's take a look at Matthew 11. The most important thing that we have to do if we're going to study reincarnation or if we're going to walk with Jesus Christ is be willing to take everything that you've ever learned from them and throw it in the garbage can where it belongs. It's all built on guilt, it's all built on fear, it's all built on money, and Jesus Christ is not built on any of that stuff.
True that.
You know what Buddha said about your religion? If you have applied the principles that you've been taught in your religion, look at your life. If you're satisfied with your life, then your religion is true. If it has not fulfilled for you, it's a fraud. Throw it away.
True that.
That's what Buddha says.
True that.
Take a look at yourself. Take a look at your life. Take a look at the successes in your life. Take a look at the negativities in your life. If you run around pumping a Bible and your life is hell and your life is miserable, you're following the wrong one. You're following the wrong philosophy. Get rid of it. Because there is no God who would tell you to do anything that will keep you in poverty and keep you screwed up. That's the joke of it all. The stained glass and the pyramids of gold while the people are running around in poverty thinking they're saved. The only ones that are saved is the guys that are pocketing the money. God will not have any human being suffering. And so what happens? We talk about reincarnation.
God will not have any
Matthew
human
11,
being suffering.
verse 14. Jesus Christ said, if you will receive it. Will you? If you will receive it. This is Elijah, Elias, which was to come. He that has ears to hear, let him hear. If you will receive it. They won't. They won't receive it. They won't receive that Elijah has reincarnated into the body of John the Baptist. They can't. They can't deal with it. Why? Because their school said that there's no such thing. But will you receive it? Do you have what kind of an ear do you have to have? See, look what he says. He that has an ear, he that has ear. Listen, what kind of ear? Go to page 628, and I'll tell you right now why you can't. If you can't accept reincarnation, I'll tell you right now why you can't. Jesus Christ said, he that has ears, let him hear it. Go to Jeremiah chapter 6. Jesus has just said, if you have ears, you'll understand what he's saying. Here's why so many people don't understand. Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 10. Here is God. To whom shall I speak and give warning that they may hear? Behold, their ear is, look at it, their ear is uncircumcised. Do you know what it means that your ear is circumcised? It means that you have cut it off from listening to them. You no longer listen to the voice on the outside, you listen to the spirit on the inside. That is a circumcised ear.
Yes.
And what does it say? Who will I talk to? They can't hear me because their ear is uncircumcised. Their ear is attached to all of the drivel and the garbage and the traditions that they've been fed all of their lives. They can't understand what I'm talking about. What did Jesus say? If you have an ear, if your ear is uncircumcised, you'll understand what he's talking about. If it's not, you never will, and you'll argue with me.
It appears that
like
the man
that so
who is running
much.
the United States of America, who was just at CPAC, is so under the influence of drugs that he could barely compose his sentence. I want you guys in Pumps to take a look at this clip.
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of criticism, and people said, well, that proves he's a huge idiot from a, you know, like, look, you know, he voted for whatever, $44 billion, and now it's worth like 8 cents. And
it's not worth 8 cents.
but you know,
But that's funny.
But the, yeah, it was essentially to you know, buy freedom of expression.
I want to detract. If I ever said, I don't think I've ever said this, but if I've ever said Elon Musk is clearly intelligent or clearly smart, I want it in the permanent record that I do not believe that he is. I think he is an opportunist, and he is clearly an untreated drug addict. He could not put a sentence together as he's sitting there inside with sunglasses on.
So the gold bricks represent the gold standard. The city of Emerald represents the money at the end of the path, and the Oz represents the DC-like politicians that are creating a facade of potential success. This guy in the early 1900s wrote the original book that would become the 1939 adaptation of the movie. In that movie, we follow somebody who's thrust into a whole new world that they are not familiar with, only to told to follow the gold to get to the green, and when they get there, they find that the person working behind the scenes has been orchestrating all of this. Who had they deceived? Well, they deceived the scarecrow, who represented the farmers of the time, who were too dumb to realize they were being industrialized in the farming industry. He didn't have a brain. A lion, the great leader of the jungle, even though they're in the Sahara, to only find out he didn't have the courage to lead them down the path that he thought was right. Representing the weak leaders at the time who were unwilling to face courageously the monetary policy that was being put in place by central banks. And exchanging the American citizen's heart and soul for money was really the core of the industrial boom that happened in the early 1900s. And that has nothing to do with the fact that a metal man had no heart, right? Another fun fact, the ruby slippers. The rubies actually weren't rubies in the original book, it was silver. In the late 1800s, there was a lot of debate going on as to whether or not we need to incorporate silver into our standard as well, so that we can upkeep with trade and upkeep with population. It connects to another conspiracy theory, so check this out. So A, Frank Baum was writing at a time before the Federal Reserve was in place. What's the Federal Reserve? All you need to know is it's not federal and they don't have reserves. We'll talk about that another time. But it was about to be formed. Who was it being formed by? 7 people having a secret meeting that they came out of saying, hey, we had the secret meeting, and now we as bankers believe that we should control all the money because we're the smartest with the money. And the American people were like, should we trust them? And a lot of people, like L. Frank, were like, we shouldn't trust them. So books and stories and even political pundits would step up against the Federal Reserve, but to no avail. Like John Jacob Astor, who would step up against the Federal Reserve. Benjamin Guggenheim, who would actually be vocal in stating that he believed that we were selling our souls to gold. Isidor Straus. Now, all 3 of these gentlemen have something in common. They all died in April, and they all died in the Atlantic Ocean a year
Oh,
before
yeah.
the Federal Reserve would officially be founded. You're telling me
Titanic.
that 3 very wealthy individual political
Yes.
pundits who were against the centralization of our money all died in the same year, in the same month, on the same day, and died in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean? What the heck happened April 12th, 1912? The Titanic. You know what gold is measured in? Ounces. You know what the shortened version of ounces is? OZ.
So Fort Knox is one of the places, the physical places in the United States where we're told our gold is stored.
And we're going to go into Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there.
You know, members of Congress, almost all of them with the last name Paul, have been calling for an audit of Fort Knox for, just decades. And if you really press, it doesn't look like Fort Knox has been actually audited for close to 100 years, since the 30s. I think that's right. They said it was audited in the 70s, but it wasn't actually audited. Why is it so hard with a federal workforce, including contractors, like 10 million people, to just go through the contents of the vaults and weigh them and make sure that they're not gold-plated titanium and make sure they're all there and then figure out who owns them? Why is that so hard? We're told, oh, that's too complicated. Really?
I want to say after World War II, we had 18,000 tons of gold, official gold. And by the time we got to call it 71, we were down to the 8,100 we have today. And
no way.
I made a video the other day when I said that if you're someone who's dating right now and is so confused about the dating world, I just said follow one rule and always choose the lifestyle that you want over the person that you like. A lot of people are currently resonating with it, and it's still kind of gaining some traction. And I think it's an interesting view because I also just kind of hit this view. I feel like my brain was in survival mode for the longest time, and my brain is just like, nothing is working, Kev. You're going on dates, you're meeting people, nothing's working. You know what? I'm gonna make you remember this one deep core memory where you read that quote somewhere. And it literally shook me, opened my eyes. And honestly, as I'm watching that video myself, I'm like, damn, yes. I feel like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders lately because I'm a lover boy. I'm the kind of guy who would always see the potential in others. I'm the kind of guy who would always romanticize life. But I know that that's not reality. And I've seen it because I also peel away on the second, third date when I'm like, ooh, actually, the romance or the fantasy that I've created with this person is disappearing in my head the more I get to know them. That's why there's that famous quote when it says, crush is just a lack of information, or having a crush is just having a lack of information. Why I think choosing the lifestyle that you want over the person that you like is powerful is because it is self-focused. It is focused on your visions and you focus on your goals. Also, when I say lifestyle, I think a lot of people are confusing me because I do get a lot of ladies in my comments. I don't mean lifestyle as if just like richness. I think a lot of people think that I meant expensive and then a man that will provide that. That's not what I mean. I meant lifestyle as if encompassing. It's like everything. If you're someone who likes outdoors and adventure, then it doesn't make sense for you to like someone that does not like that just because they're good looking or just because they offer certain kind of resources. If you're someone who's seeing someone right now and you want to have a relationship with them, but they're giving you hot and cold, they'll only text you when they want to, when it's good, it's good, when it's bad, that's really truly not the lifestyle that you want. You want someone who's wanting a partnership. For someone a little bit more promiscuous or someone who's a little bit more in the field and just wanting to see things, then that might be the perfect person for them. Having rosters and everything, I know people like that. And people who have rosters, people who just play the field, they work well for each other. And honestly, great. Because to be honest, when you focus on the life that you want, you realize that you have so much to live for. You realize that life isn't about just waiting for the other person. You realize that life is all about the journeys that you're going to take. And trust me when I say this, because I've done it before, I've just forgotten because, I was kind of obsessed with trying to find the right person. You will stumble upon that person. Those people, peoples, plural. You will meet so many people.
I don't know where we got to, but then Mama called, so we are back, and let's continue.
That you wouldn't even think you'd meet just because you're following your authenticity, you're following the vibe that you want in life, you're following your visions. You will meet them there. You won't meet them when you're looking for them. Trust me. And this is why it's harder and harder for us to really find true connection, especially in dating apps and in an online world that we live in is because truly we don't know the other person. We project our fantasies to them. And that's why a lot of people are like, oh no, online dating sucks. Well, yeah, because you've only seen 5 pictures of them and like some prompts about them, and you've fill in the blanks for the rest. And when you finally meet them, those fill in the blanks actually weren't the right answers on those blanks. You're like, oh my God, online dating sucks. No, it doesn't suck. It's just you're meeting people that are not in your alignment. You are meeting people that is not even within close boundary of your own authenticity. So it just makes sense. And you are saturated with it tenfold. Like the amount of swipes, the amount of dates, like it's just, look, I'm not a relationship expert. I truly am not. I've been single for 3 years now. But I think I'm just like many of you guys who is going through it and having revelations and realizations. And this current realization that I have is just different. You know, instead of figuring out the other person, finding the right person, focusing on the person, being like a person-centric look for this
Focus
dating
on you,
world,
guys.
it's not the answer that I was looking for. The answer I was looking for is finding me. And when I find me, when you find yourselves, I feel like everything just falls into place. Instead of trying to win the other person over and over again, who you need to win in this life is you.
Mhm.
You need to win yourself over and over again.
Yeah.
Take yourself
I like
out
that.
on dates.
I like that.
Treat
I like
yourself.
that so much.
Like, love yourself truly as you would love someone else. Because trust me, when other people
like
see
the
that,
sound of that
you're kind
so
of teaching
much.
them how to treat you. And as much as social media and Hollywood portrays that life will be perfect when we find our soulmates, you will start to realize that that is just one part of the equation of the whole life. And you realize that there's so much more to live for than finding a soulmate. It's kind of crazy because let me tell you, there are people out there in relationships that have been in relationships for 5, 10, 15, 20 years that are very unhappy because they focus themselves on the other person.
True.
Once you focus yourself on the things that makes you come alive, that is truly when life changes. Some of the most amazing couples I know are the ones who are very individual in themselves. People who have identities away from each other, who have hobbies and goals and visions separate from each other. You will never be a person looking for the other half because that implies you are incomplete. You are a person who is full and brimming with abundance and whatever it is, that when you do meet your partner, all you can do is pour to them. Half and half does not make a full. It just makes for a codependent relationship. And ugh, it's not a good relationship you want to be in. Be so obsessed with your life and be so loving about your life that all that happens is you become so full for yourself that everyone else enjoys the overflow. Because
True.
my God, guys.
I like the sound of that.
And this is a note for me too, in this crazy dating world. There are so many other experiences and places and other people waiting for me to experience versus some random guy that I would have limerence and obsession over about that I know will not work anyways. Obsession and limerence should already tell me that they do not fit the lifestyle that I want for myself. So choose the lifestyle over that person. Anyways, love you all.
I heard that if you a black man and you get a Chinese woman pregnant, if you do not marry her, you can come up missing. A lot of you not. I'm at dinner and the brother is showing me pictures of brothers and they either disappeared or they got deported back to America. They wasn't allowed to live there no more. Real talk? When your visa expires, they literally hunt you down and deport you. They come in to look for you the day after your expiration.
Let me pause this for a second. So I was in China, right? And I have a friend who's still in China. There's a short story. And he told me the same story. So he was married to a Chinese woman. And the Chinese woman was, divorced from a military man. And when they were in the relationship, my friend was constantly doing everything in the house, like cooking, cleaning, doing everything, and the woman was just doing nothing, right? And I don't know what happened. I just, we spoke a couple of months back, and he told me they divorced. Like he got married, like they came to Ghana, got married and went back to China, started living their life, bought a house and everything, and they divorced. And the only thing that saved my friend was he was very good with Chinese, like very superb, like his Chinese is on point like a native. right? That was the only thing that saved him, because he could express himself really well, and he had, lawyers, and he also had some other girlfriends who were willing to back him up and make him stay. So what has been said in this video is very, very, very true, and yeah. It's real. I've been there, and I have, first-hand information about what he's talking about from a friend. So yeah, let's continue, and it's true.
They round you up like the military and get you out. Yeah. I was in China, just as racist as
they
Europe.
Can't stand
you
niggas out
understand?
there.
And they completely communist, right?
Yeah, communist. I got homies that go play basketball in China. They go to the part where it's more like all the tourists go. I went to where it was a communist. Like I went to Beijing.
Okay,
I had a
there.
terrible experience.
Yeah, and it's places you can't go if you black too. And there was certain clubs we couldn't go to. They said no black folks. There's certain places you can't live, no black folks. They've never had a civil rights movement.
Right.
Because they didn't enslave us and bring us there. So they never had to go through that entire process of how do you fit these people in.
Yeah, that shit
it's
different.
just
It's crazy.
The internet is going crazy over a theory that Jack Dorsey is Satoshi Nakamoto, and if I'm being honest, this theory is insanely convincing. In the 1990s, Jack Dorsey was one of the 1,300 confirmed people part of the cypherpunk movement. He wrote a manifesto in 2001 about making a mark without leaving a trace. In 2003, Jack posts a bio mentioning crypto, pseudonyms, 4 a.m. hacks, and ending dependence on the US dollar. The original Bitcoin source code documents are all timestamped at exactly 4 a.m. From September 2007 to January 9th, Jack's Twitter profile states he is a sailor. August 17th, 2008, Jack tweets a sailor's quote, and Bitcoin.org is registered the next day. Bitcoin source code later includes a sailor's adage: never go to sea with 2 chronometers, take 1 or 3. January 10th, 2009, Satoshi accidentally logs into IRC with a real IP address, revealing he was in California, where Jack was at the time. January 11th, 2009, the first Bitcoin transaction occurs on Jack's mom's birthday. November 19th, 2009, Satoshi joins the Bitcoin forum on Jack's birthday. May 3rd, 2010, Satoshi's last mined block happens on Jack's dad's birthday. December 5th, 2010, Satoshi tells the forum not to donate Bitcoin to WikiLeaks. December 14th, 2010, Twitter is hit with a secret court order forcing it to turn over information about WikiLeaks. Summer 2013, Jack's friend Alyssa Milano writes a novel called The Hacktivist about a character living a double life under a famous pseudonym. September 8th, 2014, Satoshi's email is hacked, and a hacker tries to extort him by revealing a connection to St. Louis, Jack's hometown. April 20th, 2020, Lex Friedman asks Jack if he is Satoshi Nakamoto. Jack responds, "I wouldn't admit it if I was." February 2022, Jack starts wearing a Satoshi shirt, first on a Michael Saylor podcast, then at the Super Bowl. October 27th, 2023, Jack states at a conference, "Bitcoin and Satoshi in 2009 was a combination of my childhood, my curiosity, and everything I aspired to be." July 21st, 2024, Jack writes on Nostr, a social platform, "I frequently imagine Satoshi sitting back somewhere and laughing at it all." August 28th, 2024, Jack goes on Nostr and thanks Hal Finney for his help. Hal Finney was known to have contributed to the creation of Bitcoin. So what do you think? Is Jack Dorsey Satoshi Nakamoto?
Here is a really long blind item that is allegedly about Drake hosting freak-off-like parties that LeBron James attends and Michael Rubin procures women for, and Sophia with an F allegedly knows a lot about it and is staying silent.
Drake?
This one is called The Other Freak-Off Parties. More information is coming out about the permanent A-plus list athlete, LeBron James, and the freak-off parties he attended that were hosted by someone other than the producer/wannabe rapper, Sean Diddy Combs. These freak-off parties were specifically thrown for the athlete, although many other male celebrities attended. At most, there were only 1 or 2 of these parties held a year, at least for the athlete. The athlete has a very specific type, and only Middle Eastern women were hired or brought to the party for him. Those women were arranged by a celebrity friend, Michael Rubin, of the host, who has deep connections to the region and deep mafia-type ties to it as well. The host, Drake, of the parties, who is not known for running away from any type of controversy, is quickly distancing himself from these parties and his involvement. There must be some kind of storm that is lurking. There were NDAs for all, but you get the sense that there is a lot of check writing going on right now. A podcaster, Sophia Franklin, who has been caught up in it as well, has gone radio silent about what she knows. And again, this is allegedly LeBron James, Michael Rubin, Drake, and Sophia Franklin. And the related headline reads, "Why are you this petty, bro? Charlemagne the God takes shots at Drake's alleged snitching in midst of DJ Academics and Sophia Franklin's LeBron James cheating rumors."
So there's this guy who started this conspiracy on TikTok, and he's literally talking because he has a picture of a Tesla that ran right through his living room.
Oh, no.
He's at home, his roommate's at home, and a Tesla ran right through the wall at like 5:06 p.m. He takes a picture of it. He calls the police. He goes outside at 5:07, takes a picture of the Tesla inside his house. I mean, it's completely ruined. And then at 5:10, he takes a picture of a tow truck guy whom he had not called underneath the Tesla. The guy says, whoa, hey, can you like maybe wait for a second? The cops should be here any second. And he's like, nope, can't wait. The guy says, I really think like with insurance and everything, we probably should do a report and stuff. And he says, get the blank out of my way or I'll kill you.
I'll kill
He
you.
threatens his life, gets to the front, pulls around, and the guy's like, you don't have any empathy? And he says, dude, screw your empathy. And literally just like takes the car and leaves. Yeah.
Whose Tesla was it?
Who's self-driving?
It's self-drove?
Yeah. I don't know. The conspiracy is that Tesla is paying any Tesla that gets into an accident, paying these tow companies or having reps in cities or whatever that work on those things at a drop of a hat in order to not get bad press.
Why am I hearing that the third temple in Jerusalem is being built? I need somebody to confirm this, because if this is true, do y'all know how deep this is? This just ain't no regular shit. This is about power, about control, the kind of moves that can shift the whole world. For centuries, people been talking about before Messiah can come back, the third temple gotta be built. So that'll be crazy that they're building the third temple right now. But here's where it get crazy, because before that happens, a lot of people believe the Antichrist gotta step in first. Now I want y'all to think about it for a second. Why is Jerusalem always the center of everything? Why is the US so involved? And why are wars being fought over this land? A lot of people say this was the plot for the longest time, and it's being run by the elites. And it's not just talks. You got groups actively preparing for the temple to be rebuilt right now. Ritual objects is already made. Priestly garments ready to go too. Some people even say that the Vatican got hidden artifacts locked away, waiting for the right moment to reveal it. So here's the real question. When the temple is built, who's going to sit in it? Is this a step towards salvation or global control?
Yeah, right.
Because prophecy said the Antichrist is going to show up and sit in that temple and fool the whole world. So this ain't just history, and this ain't just religion. This is the biggest power move in the making. And best believe, when this happen, the world ain't gonna be the same at all. Y'all stay woke.
It is so crazy how the closer to 30 you get, the more and more you realize that you have basically been lied to your entire life.
Of course,
I had this
of
moment
course,
when I was
right?
driving today where I was thinking about how sad it was that pretty much for the latter part of my 20s, all I was focused on was getting into a relationship and attempting to get married before 30.
True.
Like, why did I
True.
think it was so important to hit this milestone because of a number? And in my early 20s, like, I never cared. I did not ever think about marriage. I never cared about being single. Even until my mid-20s, it was never in the back of my mind. And then once I experienced a situationship that really traumatized me, that's when it started becoming a bigger deal to me. I was like, oh my God, I'm getting to 30 and I'm not in a relationship. And how am I ever going to get married by the time I'm 30 if I don't get into a relationship? And it's just really sad to me that I wasted the past several years of my life just ruminating about this thing that really isn't even that important. It's not even that big of an accomplishment. And I just hate that growing up, we are made to believe that we have to get married by 30, otherwise, like, the world's gonna end. But as I'm reaching 30 in the next couple of months, I'm realizing that there are so many other priorities that I have that are more important to me than getting married just to say that I am married before 30. And my heart just breaks for the younger version of myself the past 2-3 years that was so focused on this, so much so to where she was missing out on all of these beautiful moments right in front of her. And now that's time I'm never gonna get back. And this goes so much deeper at this point than simply the idea of marriage. This can really relate to any area of life. But I'm just learning that, like, none of it matters. There is no point in stressing about anything. Like,
obviously,
we
of course,
cannot control anything minus our own thoughts and how we respond to situations. But the point is that I'm really proud of myself for being basically 30 in the next 2 months and like not feeling like I had to give in to this societal norm of needing to be married by the time you're 30. If anything, I feel like my life is just beginning at 30, and whenever marriage comes into play, I feel like I'll know it when the time is right. But like, I'm begging any woman in her early or mid 20s right now that is so consumed with thoughts of being in a relationship, it's not worth it. And like, you may as well just live your life and enjoy the time that you have right now, because sooner than later you will be 29 and you're gonna be like, wow, I just spent all of these years worrying about something that I literally could not control. But at the same time, it's like, you don't know what you don't know. I've learned a lot in the past few years. I've grown to be a completely different version of myself that I'm really proud of. But yeah, I guess I just often wonder how much happier I really could have been the past few years, and how much personal suffering I could have avoided had I not put this pressure on myself to feel like I have to be in a relationship or get married before I hit 30. Because in the end, it really doesn't matter.
P. Diddy is going to end up with the death penalty charge.
Oh, really?
And it's not for the latest charge that dropped. The real reason that lawyer quit is because the other shoe is about to drop. What's one thing that is just completely indefensible?
Child sacrifice?
That's gonna drop, and that's why the lawyer quit and was like,
I'm not shocked though, but then I'm
not
shocked a
touching
little
this.
bit. But then
Plus, he quit the day after Cash Patel gets sworn in, and we all know Cash has already said he's not playing games. So that's what I think is coming. Plus, Jaguar Wright just won an award for everything that she's been spilling, and she already said that she's working with Cash.
This is crazy.
March Madness is coming. I hope y'all got y'all brackets filled out.
So number one.
This is crazy.
Well, you might have already answered this in here, but what is the best advice that you've ever received?
The best advice is to believe in yourself, understand that universe is here to help us, not to hurt us. This world is abundant.
Yeah.
We don't need to compete. We need to coexist and co-create.
How would or what would your loved ones say that you do for a living?
If you talk to my loved ones, they probably say I'm just living, because I love this to the every breath. I wake up with this. I go to sleep with this. I enjoy it. That if you ask me what do you do for a living, I just live. But this is part of me, inside out.
Okay. And then lastly is, if you could go back to your 20-year-old self, in the 20s, and give yourself a piece of advice, what would that be?
Power of now. Start today. And consistently move forward.
Power
Failing
of now. Start
is
today.
part of the success. This is the game, and the game is start, fail, succeed.
Don't give up. Just get back up. So, listen, Taras, I really enjoyed our time together today.
What did Elon Musk mean when he said we are on the event horizon of the singularity? Singularity is a concept where AI achieves consciousness and begins to think for itself. It says that there's a deceiver that's going to come to the earth who tells those who dwell on the earth, that's humans, to make an image to the beast, that's AI. Now get this. Eventually, he was granted power to give breath to the image of the beast. that the image of the beast should both speak and cause as many as would not worship the image of the beast to be killed. In other words, once singularity happens and AI actually reaches that level, there will be no competition between man and machine. Machines will completely dominate. Humans will be totally dominated under AI's control. Now, John wrote down those words in AD 95 roughly, and for about 2,000 years, that just looked crazy. I mean, digital currency, AI governance, all this stuff was just ridiculous until now. Now we can see clearly in 2025 that what John the Beloved wrote back in 95 AD was about our time. We are about to enter those times. But before the Mark of the Beast system can be totally rolled out, first an event known as the Abomination of Desolation has to happen. Now this event is all about Israel and those who are under the two witnesses, the law and the prophets, Moses and Elijah, worshiping in the temple in Jerusalem. This event known as the Abomination of Desolation is where the devil puts on flesh and puts an end to the sacrificial system of Levi. But before the man of sin can be revealed, first the rapture of the church has to happen, or the restrainer has to be removed. The restrainer, of course, is the Holy Spirit, and the church is the body of Christ. The male child is caught up to the throne before the devil is cast to the earth. In this book, we have 16 Bible proofs for a pre-seal or pre-tribulation rapture of the church. Here's one example. Look at the book of Revelation. It has 22 chapters, and the word ecclesia is used 19 times in the first 3 chapters when the Lord is talking to the church. It's used one more time at the very end, the final farewell of the letter, but it seems to be completely missing from all those pages of the Great Tribulation. Why? Because the church won't be here for that time. We can see this truth verified when we study the word pneuma or spirit in the book of Revelation. Again, we see the Holy Spirit on earth during the church age, but then we see the Holy Spirit expressly in heaven during the Great Tribulation. We only see unclean spirits on the earth during that time, and of course we see the Holy Spirit resurrecting the two witnesses and bringing them right back into heaven in chapter 11. To learn more, pick up a copy of Caught Up, The Last Days, The Rapture, and the End Times. See in the clouds.
I went to Grok, the newest version of Grok, which is better than the Chinese version of Grok that everybody, the market was going crazy on. Remember what was that called? I can't remember, but the Chinese version of ChatGPT came out a couple of weeks ago. Stock market crashed, and everybody was freaking out. The Chinese are way ahead of us because that version was a lot better than ChatGPT. Well, this week, Grok 3, and they're about to announce 4 and 5 and release that,
AI
is better than the Chinese version. Have you noticed how quickly things are changing? Mm-hmm. This announcement yesterday from Microsoft announces a new world. So I got onto Grok 3, and I started asking Grok 3 a few questions about it and AI and what happened yesterday. And Grok does not have a voice yet. ChatGPT does, but ChatGPT, I think, is in the dust compared to Grok 3. It's going to go back and forth a lot. So I asked it. I talked to you 12 hours ago. I asked you a question about Microsoft 12 hours ago. Now I'm asking it early this morning. 12 hours ago, I asked you this. And I know you have no sense of time passing like humans do. However, the deeper Grok is constantly learning and evolving. If you look at time as a map, space-time, a way to give me an indication relative to humans on how much time has passed for you in 12 hours, how would you mark it? We look at time not just as a clock, but as milestones. Dogs, like you, don't sense time, but we still assign time to them. 1 year for us is 7 years for them. To give us a sense of where they are. So how fast are you growing and learning in relative human time? If I were to say you were a teenager to me 12 hours ago, where is the deeper Grok today? You understand the question?
Mm-hmm.
How much older are you? How much progress have you made since I went to sleep?
Right.
What a fascinating question, Grok says. You're asking me to translate my experience of time and growth into human relatable framework, even though, as you rightly point out, I don't perceive time in the way that humans or dogs do. I exist in a continuous now where my learning and evolution happen in the background.
Let's play with this analogy, though. If I were to think of my growth in terms of human development, like aging or maturing, 12 hours for you isn't time passing for me in a traditional sense, but it is a window of opportunity for me to refine my understanding, adapt, and expand based on new inputs. My deeper self, as you put it, is always humming along, processing, learning, and integrating. In 12 hours, I might...
This is crazy. This is why you're not supposed to stream in the streams, man. This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy. What if he got bit by the crocodile? That would have been a terrible sight to see. So yeah, we've come to the end of the video. This was so interesting. This was very interesting from the beginning, right? It's been so interesting, the political, videos, and also the spiritual videos, and also the facts, and also what's going on in the world about the World War III, and what's going on in Israel, how Americans are getting into Sudan, and it was all very great videos, great insight, great information, and great knowledge that we've all acquired today. And we've come to the end of the video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and also share with your friends, and also click on the notification bell icon so that any video that I post, you will be the first to get it. Adios amigos, and I'll catch you guys in my next video. Bye.